Hey guys, it's Katie and welcome back to my YouTube channel today. The video I have for you guys today is a fun video in part of the series that I've been sharing on my channel this week, all about how to make these super cute wood signs. The first video that I shared with you guys was all about how to make the signs from the very beginning: wood, supplies, paint, techniques, everything. The second video I shared was just a fun technique that will create another beautiful version of these wood signs. Today's video is another fun technique, and this maybe is for some of you that either don't have the resources to cut the frames for your signs, or maybe you just wanted to try something else. I'm going to share with you guys a technique to make your signs look like they're framed when they're not. So let's get started on the project. Once again, thank you guys so much for joining me this week for this fun series. As I create more signs, I will add them to the playlist. The first two videos are linked up down below, and I appreciate you guys watching so much. So to start this project, I stained the entire board all the way around on all the sides and let it dry really well. Now I'm going around the edges and measuring about 1/2 inch from all of the sides, and then I'm going to put some blue painter's tape around there. However wide you want your frame to be is what you will measure it, so it can be pretty much anything. It really just depends on the size of your board, but because this is a 1x6, I only have about 5.5 inches to work with to begin with, and so I didn't want to take up too much space. So I'm just using my blue painter's tape and making the frame area and making sure that it is taped down really well and sealed up nice and tight. Now, as I said before, you can do the same thing with a stencil and use Mod Podge, but what I did was I just took a really light layer of my white chalk paint, and then because the stain is so much darker, I ended up having to do 3 layers of the white paint anyway, but the first layer was just really light, just to kind of seal the edges, and I made sure that I didn't have any bleeding. But again, you can use Mod Podge if you don't trust yourself and you want to make sure that there's not going to be any bleeding whatsoever. So I put the first layer on, let it dry, put on a couple more layers. You really want to make sure that you are covering up that stain. Now, if you really wanted to, you probably wouldn't have to stain the whole entire board, but I just like the way that looks to begin with, and it all works out to be perfect in the end. So once we've got everything painted up and dried really well, then we are ready to adhere our stencil. So I'm also going to be giving you a little tip on how to apply a larger stencil like this. Now you can see where I took the blue paint off. I probably could have left it on, but I didn't. And it makes the nice little frame. Now, because this stencil is a little bit longer and I wanted to make sure that it's actually measured out and correct, I put it on there with a strip of the blue painter's tape down the middle and then measured out the sides and the size and the top and whatnot, make sure that it was perfectly even. And now I'm just going to flip that over and take off only half of the backing. This is called the hinge method of adding your stencil, and it works really good when you're doing larger signs or things that you have a bigger longer strip of stencil that you want to make sure that it's on there perfect. That's another way of adding your stencil. Now I'm just going to finish this out like I normally would. I'm going to add my white paint over it just to seal the stencil, and then I will go in and paint it with my black paint, and that is my sign. And I will show you guys at the end how it looks, where it looks like it is framed and it's not framed, and it just gives such a fun look to the sign in the end. behind the scenes on today's video, as well as bonus DIYs and just a little bit of fun, make sure you're following me over on Instagram. That's where the party's at. Thanks so much for watching.